we start pondering of what we have to do after graduation. Will I go for higher education or get a job in an MNC? You see, guys, all of you who are here, you must be having the same question in your mind, like how to proceed, how to plan for internships, and how to be prepared before the actual storms kick in. For that, we must start paving the path that will lead us to the milestone we are looking for. In the end, we all want to be placed in a good company, in a good network of people, and in a great environment. In a nutshell, how to crack a job. More specifically, how to crack a job in product-based company. And that's what our topic today is. Today we have Mr. Prajwal Sinha with us, passed out from IIM Bangalore. He is a YouTuber by profession for the channel Amigos. Amigos is a social network to help college students connect, find internships, find scholarships, and much more. Good evening and welcome, sir. Thank you so much for giving us time from your busy schedule. We hope students will get the maximum benefit out of this session. They'll be able to resolve the dilemma and confusion they have, learn from your experiences, and will be able to get the idea on how and what to plan for their jobs. Over to you, sir, for the introductory remarks.
Thanks a lot, Naman. Thanks a lot for getting me here. So I am the co-founder of Amigos, which is a social network. So I've worked in a lot of companies, mostly product-based companies. I started my career from TCS, a very small company, right? A service-based company. Then I moved to McAfee through an off-campus drive, which was later, acquired by Intel, and we became part of Intel security as well. So I'm mostly from the network security background. I started my days from there. So I hope this, I'll be able to tell you some important things that that are very much required from your end to if you want to get placed into big companies, product-based companies, because they have a very different culture. So let's see. So yes, Naman.
That was so enlightening. I will personally look forward for that. Now we will be like having the session from your side. So we may start that.
Sure. So what I'll try to do is I'll share my screen first. Okay, and then I'll try to start this. Okay. So I've got a few things with me. So first of all, I'd just like everyone to know that after the quiz, after the webinar, there'll be a quiz at 6 o'clock. And some of the questions would be from the webinar itself today. So I hope all of you are attentive throughout the session, and after that you'll get some cash prizes also, and you'll get to compete with others across India also. So let's get started. Is my screen visible to everybody?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yes. So as I told you, there'll be a live quiz on Amigos app at 6 o'clock. So you can actually search for this name on Play Store, and you can download that. And at 6 o'clock, we'll have a quiz. So in this particular session, we'll discuss some of these things. So what companies want from a candidate is something that is very important for you to get into a good company, a big product-based company. You have to understand from their perspective, right? If you keep on preparing in the conventional way, you'll not be able to crack that, because the expectations are very different, and they're looking for not just people who have good marks, right? They're not looking for those people. They are looking for people who have a different set of skills. So we'll discuss that. We'll also differentiate between product-based and service-based companies. The essential core difference in culture, as well as the amount of and the kind of work, is something that we are going to discuss. How to approach good companies, like it's okay, even if you prepare, a lot of people do not get opportunities from their college to get into off-campus, in product-based companies. In that case, what should they do is what we'll discuss. Importance of a good resume in off-campus drives also. While you are sending your resume to people across India and for different colleges, for different product-based companies, a lot of people make a lot of very, very huge mistakes, and that's the reason that the HR people do not even see their resume. So we'll discuss about that also, and we'll also discuss some of the structure that you need to have in your resume. Internships and live projects, how important are these to get into big companies? Important subjects and technologies that you have to learn. We'll emphasize on this also, and then at the end we'll just discuss some of the important HR interview questions. So throughout the webinar, I'll tell you how I got into McAfee also, right? How I started. I was from a very small engineering college called GSS in Bangalore, which most of you would not have heard about. And I started, in my college, we had a lot of on-campus opportunities. We were placed in, I was personally placed in 4 companies from my college days itself. But then I also figured out that, if you are good, you have to get good packages also. And and I started preparing for different things that most of my other colleagues were not preparing for. So that is how I was able to crack that. So let's start. So my name is Prajwal Sinha. I did my engineering from GSSAT Bangalore, and I cracked campus placements of almost all the companies. I joined TCS and stayed there for just 5 months. And I was one of the toppers of the whole batch also in the ILP. And still I was put into a project which was not good for coders. I was a coder primarily. I was not into other stuff, but I was mainly a coder. So I figured out that problem with service-based companies, big service-based companies, that they do not look at you as a person, but look at you as a resource. And then whatever opportunity, whatever requirement they have, they will put you into that, irrespective of what you know. So even if you are a huge, a big shot Python coder, it is not, it is not a guarantee that you will get a project on Python there. Right? So this is what I felt, and that's why I started preparing for off-campus drives also. I have close to 10 years of coding experience, and I have taken interviews both in service-based as well as product-based companies. So in McAfee, I was one of the interviewers also. So when off-campus people used to come to our our office, I was one of those people who used to take their interviews. And I have taken interviews for a lot of startups also, because a lot of my friends have their own startups. Most of the people who are from IIMs or other good colleges, they have their own startups, and some of them ask me to take their technical interviews for them. So that is how I've taken a lot of interviews, and I know what exactly is it that you should do to get into that. Uh, Over the last 7 years, I have been helping students on various platforms on YouTube. Recently, I've just started almost 1.5 months ago. I started a channel which has got 15,000 subscribers, again by the name of Amigos. And over the last 7 years, I have a group on Facebook which has 62,000 members now. I'm an alumnus of IIM Bangalore. I did my management and entrepreneurship from there. Founder of Lenskart, and these people are some of my seniors. And I'm currently pursuing MA in psychology. So recently, I was in news also for developing Bharat Scanner, which was developed in just 5 days, an alternative of Cam Scanner. And I have also created student-centric websites like Government Job Adda. If you are preparing for government jobs, then this is what we have. Respot is also a free website for placement mock tests. So I have some of the softwares that I have developed in my life has, I'm Bangalore uses our software for their placement, for managing their own placements. And Vajiram and Ravi, which is India's largest UPSC coaching institute, is also our customer. And these are some of the companies that I cracked placements in. So what we'll start with is what companies want from a candidate. These are some of the points. So one of the most important things is that people in product-based companies are not looking for a very good technical knowledge from your side. You might have, you should be a coder. That is one thing, but the most important thing is your ability to learn something. That is the reason that they ask a lot of puzzles in the interview, right? They ask aptitude also in your interview, and then they ask you programs, but logical programs. If you look at interviews of Amazon, they ask you kind of puzzles for which you have to write a program for. And this is something that is evident from the way that they have started hiring now, which is through competitive programming now. So this is very important for them. It is not what you know, it is about how fast you can learn something new and then start working on it. Right? So this is something that they have to look at. Also, they need people who will have a lot of questions, right? Who have been critical in their life, and they come up with ideas. And if you pitch some ideas to them, they will counter them. They will try to find out flaws and then try to come up with the solution. This is important because in a product-based company, even when I was working at McAfee, our team was the team that I was working in was just 22 people, and most of the times we had to brainstorm on different things. So what we used to happen is that one of the persons would come up with an idea or a change on the platform that we had, and others that person will pitch to the other team members, and those people will try to criticize that and try to figure out the flaws and ask a lot of questions, and that is how you have to convince them. So for that you have to have a very good aptitude. So first, fast learning ability is one of the most important things. Sound technical knowledge, obviously, right? Problem solving skills, you have to have that, which means that if you have the next line is practical knowledge, which is projects. So not these projects should not be the common things that are available there. You should see a small problem. You should find a problem and then try to solve it through your projects. So even if the project is not very huge, but it solves a real world problem, that is what they are looking at. So people who can come up with ideas, try to solve problems, is something that most of these good companies are looking at. Fortunately, I had some very good projects in my college days, which I graduated in 2010. I did my engineering in 2010. So I had at that point of time very good soft projects in my hand, and had won a lot of competitions across India as well. So that was very important for my resume. So if possible, try to compete with, compete in competitions and create good projects. These are one of the some of the most important things to get into good companies. Communication skill is obviously important, but product-based companies will not reject you for this. Service-based companies will. So if you go for an interview at TCS, if they do not like you, right, they will probably not select you just because you are not able to speak properly. But big companies won't. No, the big companies won't have any issues, and they won't actually have ask you questions, reject you just for this. Let me just check just a minute. I'm getting an important call. Yeah. So then you have to have a very good attitude, because in large such companies, your attitude is very important, because you work for a very long time in just one project. Unlike service-based companies where you keep on changing your projects, these are people who interview you generally are your future teammates if you go for off-campus drives. So they look at that a lot. And then you have team player ability and confidence that you exhibit is also very important. So these are some of the things. Also, feel free to ask me questions at the end. After the session, we'll have a Q&A session also. So we can ask me questions there. Feel free to drop in the comments in the chat box. So what is the essential difference between product-based and service-based companies? Product-based companies like Google, Amazon, McAfee, ARM, they have their own products, and the whole company is organized into very small good teams. They won't have a lot of people. 20 people is a huge number in a product-based company, and they have a very small team working on a product on a portion of a product. Right. Service-based companies work for others, and they generally do not have their own projects, except TCS, which has which has a lot of their own projects also. But other companies generally work for others. So this is a very common difference. Other thing is that product-based companies generally give you tasks for about 3 months, right? They create your MBOs and give you what you have to do in the next 3 months or 6 months, and they won't come and spoon feed you, or they won't come and sit on your head and asking for a lot of updates. While in service-based companies, in TCS, Infosys, any of these companies, you have a project manager or a TL who will every day keep on asking you what you have done and all those things. Because Google and McAfee and Cisco, all these companies generally hire people who are who do not need a push to work on anything. They need people who are self-motivated. While TCS and Infosys, these are mass recruiters, so they have to manage, micromanage everybody that they have hired. So this is a very big difference. Other things are that you have a lot of time when you are working in a product-based companies. Right? You will have a lot of time because they have already created a product and that is already running, and a lot of people already are generating revenue for them. So they won't have any issues. But while companies like Infosys, Wipro, TCS, they are working for somebody else and they have to meet a deadline, right? So we don't get a lot of time. They generally try to finish the project before the deadline because they will have you'll find a lot of issues also which they will have to resolve. So the culture is very different. It's very relaxed in a product-based companies, and it is very heavy, but is very hardworking in a service-based company. Except Amazon. Amazon is one of the very few companies who which generally gives you a lot of work. For other companies, it's very chill environment there. So how to approach such companies is again very important, because you have to keep track of off-campus drives, right? Now, the problem is that when you're trying to keep track of off-campus drives, even if you apply through their official career portal, you probably will not get a call from them, right? Which is because they are getting thousands and thousands of resumes from everywhere. So they will not select you just on that, right? They will not look at your resume just like that. But if you're that smart that you are able to find somebody on LinkedIn or some other place who are working in that company, there's a very, very high chance that you will get an interview call. So in McAfee also, generally I used to get reference. Some of my juniors would approach me asking for reference, and this is how most of the big companies generally hire. They look at because these are small companies, right? If you look at the strength of McAfee and TCS, McAfee has around 6,600 employees, right? But TCS has more than 4 lakh employees. So there's a huge difference. So here referral works a lot, and the company also generally prefers people who have been referred from by one of their employees. So one other way is that go and create an account on LinkedIn. If you have not created till now, please do it after the session, because this is LinkedIn is one platform where you'll be able to search people based on what company they are working on, and then ask them for referral. If you and also one of the most important thing is that you have to create live projects. You should not just create projects and keep it in a folder. Try to make it live, which is accessible from outside, and then share about these things on LinkedIn, so that people who are in your network keep seeing all these things from you. For example, if you are interested in AI/ML, keep posting some of the projects that you have developed. Try to create a video on that, right? The more you do that, the better it would be, because people, and don't approach upfront. Create your projects, showcase there, and then probably ask people that I have been working on these particular technologies. You can see through my LinkedIn profile also, and keep sending requests to a lot of people from the company that you want to get into, right? So this helps a lot. This has helped me also. This has helped a lot of others also. So this is a very important advice that I am giving to you, because it's very difficult to get calls from off-campus drives. Only if companies are approaching, only then you will be able to do that. And then and these projects could be websites or applications. Just if you have an idea of a small application, just create it, right? And upload it on Play Store, right? This is something that you can showcase. Even if you build an app and which is not live on Play Store, you will not get that advantage, right? All of your projects should go live on any of the web applications, right? Graphic design, if you are good at graphic designs, create posters, create whatever you like, and keep posting it on LinkedIn. There are platforms like Behance and other Dribble. It is okay to host there, but also do it here, right? And if you have some experience, try to become a freelancer. People in product-based companies, they generally hire people who have that experience working as well, right? And also, if you have built AI-based products, you can showcase that also. And if you find people in these companies and ask for referral, be very blunt about that, and keep on asking, keep requesting them to refer you, and send them your resume, which should be in very good format. So this is something that we'll also discuss later. And participate in hackathons on HackerEarth, HackerRank, and other CodeChef and other platforms. These are very important, because a lot of opportunities, a lot of these big companies like SAP calls often from HackerRank and HackerEarth. So if you have good resume, good performance there, if you perform really good there, some of these companies might take resume from them and call you. So HackerRank, Hacker, both of these companies are very good, and they generally have good connections in product-based companies. So be regular on that. Spend at least an hour on these platforms, attempting questions there. Importance of a good resume. So this is something that most of you would already know, that whenever you apply for any off-campus drive, most of you do not get any calls. And some of the things that I have also experienced, that people send us a lot of resumes as well. But the biggest problem is that they do not even mention what role they are applying for, or they do not write a very good subject. So this not writing emails, skills in email subject is very, very the biggest mistake that you can do. Do not say that Prajwal resume, right? A lot of people write in the subject that this is Prajwal's resume. That's it. Nothing more than that. They do not even write a single line in the body of the email. So these are not the people that I'm even going to open their resume or their mail, because it appears that they are not very serious, right? If you are interested, if you have done good research, write in the mail that I'm a good Python developer, or a Python developer fresher, and mention your college name if possible, and say that I'm looking for these roles. So subject has to be very important, because that is where people make decisions. If you have 100 resumes every day, you'll only click on those which seems interesting. Otherwise, you won't. So if you are from a good college, mention your college name there. If you don't have, you are not from a very good college, it's okay. Mention some of the projects in the mail, but try to, for example, let's say that if I had created 10 projects on Python, I'll say that Prajwal fresher 10 plus projects applying for a Python developer role, or for any role in your organization. It mention all these things in the skill in the subject of the mail. Then a lot of people do not even create good resume formats. Some of them do not even mention marks, right? So format should be very good. It should look beautiful. If it looks beautiful, people are generally people will spend a lot more time reading through your resume. And if the resume is structured, they will actually give you a lot more importance. People who do not try to format these resumes, often are considered not serious, and nobody calls non-serious people for interviews or anything. And they don't want to spend a lot of time on such people. So I can show you at least 5 to 10 resumes that were sent today, and only one of them had a good subject line. So this is a big problem. Now, grammatical mistakes and spelling mistakes are unforgivable in any resume. If you make these mistakes, and if the interviewer is trying to, if they are trying to hire people who do their work with perfection, they will straight away reject you. Grammatical mistakes, if you are writing it, get it cross-checked by people who are better in English, right? So get it cross-checked by them. So that is that copied career objective. Again, a very huge mistake that people do. They simply copy paste any career objective that they find online and write it there. It's a huge mistake, because a career objective should not be copied. It should reflect what you want in your career. You should tell that if you are a Python developer, you can say that I want to become a good Python developer and work on independent projects. I'm a self-driven person. All those things. This is career objective is very important. A lot of people pay attention to these missing details, marks, and projects. A lot of people do not even mention their streams, college streams, what stream they are, they have done their engineering in. They don't mention marks in 10th and 12th or engineering, and they just because they have low marks, right? A lot of people do not mention that. And even if you have decent marks, a lot of people miss out because they probably do not want to showcase that they have less marks. And this is exactly what we think of. The moment I do not see marks and projects, I don't see marks present in your resume, I don't call them. Right? I do not call them even for an interview or even for a telephonic round, because it clearly means that the person is trying to hide something. As a fresher, your marks, even if it is low, mention that, and later you can obviously justify in your, with your achievements or projects that you have done these many projects, and that's the reason you don't have good marks, right? And again, mention your projects as many as you can. It's not just about 1 or 2 projects, official projects. If you send me a resume and you have just 2 projects in your career, then probably I will not give you a lot more importance, because the 2 projects would probably be from your college days, and it was because the college asked you to do that. But we are looking for people who have who create projects not because they want to show it to somebody, but because they want to build something. So this is a quality that most of the good companies look for. And then missing cover letters. Every time you send a resume, make sure that you write a few lines. If you know the company, mention a few lines about that company and what you like about that company, or whatever information is publicly available. Just use that and write something that will encourage people, HR people, to read through your resume, and open your attachment, right? Because people, a lot of the times, people have to click on attachment and then open the resume. This is not a lot of people will do. So your subject line and your body of the mail should be very strong, and you should have search for how to write good cover letters and write that also. But generally, write about the company, write about what you know about them and why you want to work at that company. A good resume structure is this: header, mention your name, email, mobile number, and photo. Optional. Photo is optional, but it is generally a good to have thing, because your photo makes a human connection with the other person. If I'm able to see you, obviously I'll get some attachment. And this is something a lot of media marketing companies use, this technique, where they create a mascot for something. And this is the reason, because people generally look at a face and they get attached. They create a human connection with that. So this is very important. If you play with, this is mostly a psychological thing, but try to include a photo. A smiling and confident photograph will fetch you, at least give you 10-15% more chance of getting a call. So mention your email, mobile number properly. Try to pick calls. Even if you miss some calls, call them back. It happened with me a lot of the times when I probably missed a call, and then I called back and came to know that it was a very important call. So try to do that. Okay. Career objective, write your own. Then after that, in the header, you should have the name, email, mobile number, and photo. Then career objective. In the header, you can also mention your college if it's quite good. Mention your education with marks, year, and institution name, along with specialization. Do not leave that. Okay. Skills and area of interest is very important, because this is what will drive your interview. So if you want to control your interview, mention your skills and area of interest. Most of your questions will be asked from that. Even if but make sure that you are good in these things that you mentioned. Projects and internships, very important, very important, because um, internships, if you have done some internships, the good thing about internship is that most of the times the company that you are doing internship at will try to hire you if you perform really well. This is what we generally do. We hire a lot of people who have been our interns, and we see that okay, these are good, and since you have already spent 3-4 months teaching them how to work, then you don't want to spend the same amount of time on somebody else, and that's the reason that interns are generally absorbed in good companies. Projects also are very important. Independent projects, freelancing projects, all these things are very important. So mention that clearly. Mention how much time the projects took, how many team members are there. So mention the team strength also, which is very important because companies are looking for team players. And then internship, mention what you have done in the internship, what kind of technology you worked on. Right? Try to gain some practical knowledge in internship. So, and mention that. Achievements, if you have taken part in competitions, anything that you across India, mention all these things. Even if you are probably, let's say, not related to study, right? If you're good at something which is not related to study, that is also that is also something that you have to mention, because a common assumption on human behavior is that if you're good at something, you will probably have worked hard, and you have that hardworking and attention to detail, and that's the reason that you are excelling at something else. So the moment that shifts to your actual work, or a professional work in a company, you will become good at that also. So that is what generally look at. Athletes are generally considered very good. People from army are considered very good for companies, and this is the same reason, because people, if you are good at one thing, you will be able to become good at something else also, right? So understand this particular line. And then personal details at the end: address, date of birth, hobbies. Don't mention things like you have three brothers and all those stuffs. Right? You don't mention all these things, because that is just a waste of space. Try to keep your resume to one page only. If it has to extend for 2 page, it should be because of the number of projects that you have done, not because of anything else. Okay. So internships and live projects are very important that we have seen. So what happens in off-campus rounds? Most of the time, they try to filter out people. So let me just check if some of you are asking any question or not from me. Okay. So I'll just check the chat. Okay. So everyone, if you have any queries, feel free to ask me questions here. And am I able to hear you? Are you able to hear me properly? Can somebody comment in the chat window?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
I'm audible, right? So feel free to drop in questions, because I'll start taking questions at the end. I'll probably end within the next 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll start asking, taking up queries from your side. So ask as many questions as you want. If there is any subject that you want to ask me about, what type of questions, feel free to ask. I'll also share some of those details in the PPT. Right. So yeah, I'll go full screen again. Yes. So aptitude, technical, and coding round, right? Coding is very important nowadays. You cannot skip coding, even if you are from people from EC background or non CS background. Generally say that I'm not good in coding. Even a lot of people from computer science background say that they don't like coding, and it's not something that anybody will accept. If you're from a computer science background, you cannot say that you are not good at coding. Right? This is what you have been trained for. This is what you have learned for 3 years. And if you're not a good programmer, at least product-based companies will never hire you. There's no way that they can hire you, right? So you have to have good aptitude. Again, very important, because it's a filtration round. They try to eliminate people who are not good. So it is mostly an elimination round. Technical questions. Companies like Honeywell, companies like Robert Bosch, they will ask technical questions in their in their exam, right? In their written test, and this is something that they generally use. So Honeywell had come to our company, all in our college also, and they asked questions from all the different subjects, be it C, be it data structures, be it operating systems, DBMS, OS, all these OS, DBMS, computer networks. So these are core subjects, and they will ask you if you are from a computer science background. If you're not from a computer science background, they will ask you different questions, but they try to look at your technical knowledge also. Coding, again, very important, because and not just easy questions. I mean, you should be very comfortable with data structures. You should know how to invert a tree, right? How to reverse a linked list. Again, linked list is something which is very common nowadays, but then that is something that look at also. Group discussion. Some companies go for group discussion because this is what they want to know, whether how you interact with people around you in a team. So, and don't you should not be very aggressive in a group discussion, though you are a leader, right? but generally people who get selected in group discussions are people who are able to control and convince everybody, not those who keep on shouting and keep suppressing others. So make sure that and for group discussion, please practice. It will help you a lot in the future. For one-to-one interviews also, it is going to be very useful. Just form a group of 3-4 people and pick a topic and start discussing on that. If you go to any of the good colleges, so I have done a course from IIT Delhi also, so we used to sit in the cafeteria, and we saw that a lot of young students from IIT Delhi were discussing about a particular topic, and that is something very healthy, and that is something that is very required. So try to see what people from good colleges are doing, and you'll see that they are building good projects, they are building, they are interacting with others, they are taking part in competitions, and this is what people from other colleges should also do. And fortunately, I was doing all those things in my college days. I ranked first in a web design competition in 2009-10 by Sun Microsystems, and there were people from other good colleges also, and still I was good at. I got first prize there along with a friend of mine who was also working with us. So this is something that you have to keep trying. If you're doing your FC, if you're spending 4 years on something, do it really well. Otherwise, you're going to waste those 4 years. And at the end of 4 years, I have seen a lot of good, talented people who did not study very well, and they were struggling to find good jobs. Right? They will probably have, even after 5 or 6 years, they will still be stuck at 6 or 7 or 8 lakhs of salary. But people who have worked really hard. So in my college days also, I have a friend who was at 36 lakhs per annum after 7 years of experience, and another friend of mine was at 8.5 lakhs. Right? Both of us studied from both of them studied from the same college, same branch, and these two were at these completely different places. So जो घोड़ा ये कछुआ और रैबिट वाली बात है ना, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है यहाँ पे. You have to move slowly, you have to work on your weakness, learn small things, keep improving. If you do not do that, probably you'll be left behind. It doesn't matter how smart you are, how good you are. People who work hard consistently always go farther, and this is a huge career. You have 30-40 years to look at after your college days. So you have to work on that, right? So technical interview, coding and core subjects are very important in HR interview. Right? Subjects and technologies that you should learn. This is probably one of the most important slides here. C, C++, Python. Very good to know. But the most important subject is data structures and algorithms. Product-based companies will grill you on this. I had an interview at McAfee and started from 10:30 a.m. and it continued till 6:30 p.m. In between, we had just 1.5 hours of gap for lunch, and we had continuous 8 or 9 rounds of technical interview. And most of them asked me questions from all the subjects, especially on data structures and algorithms. So if you're not good at that, it's very, it's very difficult. So I keep sharing about these things on my YouTube channel also. But data structures, most important part. Then DBMS. DBMS is something that a lot of people want to ask you for. Ask you in product-based companies, because if you are building any product, DBMS is very consistent across all the projects. Doesn't matter what stack you have. Even if you are working on MongoDB, even if you are working on Python or Node.js, any technology that you pick, at the end you will have to work on DBMS, right? So DBMS, OS Computer Networks. If you want to get into companies like Cisco, McAfee, Intel, Tejas Network, these are some very good companies, and FireEye, Ativo Networks, Palo Alto Networks. If you want to get into computer networks, and they generally have a lot better salary than other fields. So network security background, computer network background, you will get a lot of good salary. So they focus on computer networks. They'll really on this. So data structures, then DBMS, then OS, very important, then computer networks. Then obviously, if you are studying data structures, then you will be good in one of those, C or C++ or Java. So that is something that you can pick and choose. But C is something that is expected from almost everybody to know, right? C or C++, not C, C++. Oops, because it comes with OOPS concepts also. Python is again optional most of the times. They won't reject you if you do not know, Python, right? They won't reject you just because of that. But if you will probably get rejected if you're not good at OOPS concepts, right, or data structures. So Python is good for building projects, very important. They have a lot of jobs, but most of the times it's not just about that. Then we have technologies, Python, Django, web frameworks, right? You can develop websites very fast on, if you try to use Django. Similarly, we have Node.js also, which you can use to create products. AIML projects are already there. AIML is the future. After almost 5 to 6 years, you'll have a lot of jobs in AIML. Though it will be cutting down a lot of jobs also, but then we need people Just about 20 years ago, everybody was saying that software will kill a lot of jobs, but then it generated a lot more jobs. And similarly, that is going to happen with AI/ML. You'll have a lot more applications of AI/ML, and there will be a lot of job openings. So if you have not started learning AI/ML, please start today. Right? React.js, very important. AngularJS, these are front-end technologies. So React and Angular are front-end technologies. Node.js is a back-end technology, JavaScript based. So you can learn about that. So either you can choose Python Django or Node.js. So these are mutually exclusive. Right? AngularJS and React.js is something that if you're working on front-end, you have to know along with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Android development, if you're looking at mobile app development, learn either core Android development or iOS development. But either Swift or Android core development. But Flutter is something which is picking up really fast, which is a cross-platform technology to develop. It's a technology to develop cross-platform applications. So you have to write only one code, and it will generate iOS and Android applications. So a lot of good companies, product-based companies, are moving towards Flutter, and even we are thinking of moving towards that, because right now we are focusing on native Android and native iOS. But we are thinking of moving to Flutter, and this is what a lot of good companies are looking at. React Native is also very good, but then Flutter belongs to Google, and that is going to lead everything, because at the end Android belongs to Google, and they will obviously have better performance with Flutter applications. If you want to get into testing, manual testing, it's easy to get into, but it won't get you a lot of good salary later. So you have to learn automation testing, and for that you have to learn Selenium with Python or Java. Right? Generally, even nowadays, it is Java that they are looking at. Right? So HR interview questions, tell me about yourself, very important questions. That's a very important question, because you just have to mention a few details about yourself, focus on your academics a little bit, and then play around with your skills that you have learned and that projects that you have built. So mention all these things which highlights your capabilities, and mention your achievements that you have. Why should we hire you? Very important question. I have created a separate video on this, because these questions are very important. But just take a snapshot of this page and go through and practice. Try to write your own answers for this. So what are your strengths and weaknesses? Why do you want to work for this? Oh, there's a spelling mistake, and there's a mistake here. Yeah. So why do you want to work for this company? So you have to research about the company that you're appearing for, especially in product-based companies. If you don't do that, they generally say that you're not good at research, and product-based companies look at people who go deep into anything. So when I was interviewed at McAfee, there were only 2 seats in India at that point of time, and 60-70 people from IITs and IITs had come for that. So the good thing about me was that I read everything about McAfee that was possible, and I knew when was it started, when was it renamed to McAfee. So it was once called Network Associates. The McAfee company was called Network Associates. Not many people knew, even the interviewer did not know. And when I told him, he was surprised. So I knew a lot of things, and this is what set me apart from all those people. It was not that I was from a very good college, or it was not that I was the only one very smart there. All of those people were really good, but then I was selected because I was slightly different from others. Right? How are you better than the other candidates? Again, this is where you have to compete, because at the end you will have only 5. When I was there, at the end there were only 5 people, all creamy people, but then they had only 2 seats. So they will pick you. Why should they pick you over others is something that you have to convey to them. And are you okay with working on a technology? If not, it's okay. You can always say that I'm good in this, and I want to work on that only. But then it depends on whether they have a requirement for that or not. And where do you see yourself in 5 years? Again, very common questions. So important points at the end that I'll have to tell you is that create a it's 5:43. Create a good resume. Very important. Beautiful. It should look beautiful. If it is beautiful, they will obviously consider you. Right. Go through your resume. Write a good subject line in the email. Right. Learn to code irrespective of the branch that you are studying. Create projects and make them live. If it's not live, people will think that it is fake. Right. So make sure that all your projects are live. Internships. Do as many internships as you can. You can also search for internships on Amigos app, just in case, if you're looking at that, because we interview a lot of people and only then we forward their resume to companies. So we are very different from other companies also. Cooperative programming, CodeChef, Codeforces, HackerNet, Hackadat is something that I've already mentioned. A score on 5+ and Codeforces 1800+ is considered very good for product-based companies. Participate in hackathons, as many as you can. Marks are very important. Prepare for aptitude rounds. Be active on LinkedIn. research about the company that you're applying for, and if they like you, they will select you. So this line is very important. In an interview, if you are able to impress them, if they like you as a person, they are going to select you. Okay. Some of the common questions are these, right? What to do if you have less marks, if you have less than 60 marks? Focus on building projects. Make sure that you build projects, right? If you have good projects, make them live and start sending mails to small companies. Start with small companies, and then you will probably have learn a lot more, and then start approaching bigger companies after a year of experience. So there's a friend of mine who started with just 8,000 of salary and is now earning around 34 lakhs of salary, right, in just 10 years. And that is only, and he had 58% marks. He was not able to appear in any of the on-campus drives. So he was very good in Java. He was building projects. So that's the reason he got really that far. So if you have less marks, create projects, make them live, start contacting companies, and if they do not respond by mail, go to their office, right? It's okay to go to their office and say that I'm good in this, I'm looking for an opportunity, right? If you send mails regularly to small companies, this won't work with big companies. So this is something that you have to look at. How to get a good job as a non-IT student. As a non-IT student, getting jobs in core sectors is very difficult, right? So referrals will work, or learn coding. If you are good at coding, if you are good at communication skills, there are a lot of business development profiles also. In product-based companies, they will hire people who are very good at communication skills. Even if you are not from computer science background, it's okay, or not an MBA, it's okay. But they want smart people. So, and they pay a lot. So, some of the companies like Zomato and all these people, they hired a lot of engineers for salespeople who were really good. Byju's has a lot of engineers, and if you're really good, they pay you a lot. And these are good product-based companies as well. So if you are not good at coding, what to do? Learn coding. There's no other option, right? How to prepare for aptitude? Get the book by R.S. Agrawal, which is Quantitative Aptitude by R.S. Agrawal. Buy that book. That is one of the best books that from where you should start your preparation. Then move to other books like Arun Sharma for CAT and other stuffs. But start with that book. Finish it in 10 days. That should be good enough. Right. So, and placement mock test is something that you should keep appearing for. Take as many mock tests as you can, because campus placements are not about how much you know, but it's about how fast you can solve easy questions, right? So make sure that you are you're preparing for mock tests. Some free mock tests are available on Amigos app also. So, and this is our application that we have. You can check this out, and there will be a quiz at 6 o'clock sharp on the Amigos app, right? So it has already been created. I have just been informed by my team. So go ahead and take that quiz at 6 o'clock, and the questions will be from whatever I have told you here, right? And you will get Paytm cash prizes also there. So now let's go for the Q&A session. Feel free to ask me anything, and I hope if you have any queries, connect with me on LinkedIn. I go by LinkedIn /in/Prajwal Sinha. So this is my LinkedIn profile, right? Let it open. Okay. So this is the URL. What I'm going to do is I'll paste it there also in the meeting. Okay. And let me stop sharing my screen now. Yes, app is present on. This is my this thing profile. What are the queries? I'll start going from from the beginning. So what are some of the key traits for which recruiters are looking for in freshers? Ability to learn fast. It's very important. You have to be a fast learner. If you're good at that and they are able to see that in your interview, they will call you. Aditya Pandey has asked, that was Anushka. Aditya Pandey, is it necessary to be good at competitive programming to crack? Obviously, yes. Yes. If you have to go into FANG, you have to go. Just a few days ago, one of my juniors from McAfee got into Facebook about 3-4 days ago, right? So he was very good at competitive coding. Another cousin of mine got into Facebook last year. So he was also very good at coding. He practiced from LeetCode. So LeetCode is a little different. It is used globally. So if you want to get into companies like Facebook and Google, refer LeetCode, right? Rohan Khurana, sir, these days companies have started filtering resume using computer-generated programs, Orbits. How to prepare resume for that? See, you just have to find a software that works on that. Is ATS what you are referring to, right? So that automatically scans your resume and generates output. But at the end also, they look at your resume and see how good it is prepared. So this is only for big companies, but if you get a job through referral, if you are applying through referral, they will look at how good your resume has been created, right? We need to learn all these technologies, yes. As an engineer, you have to learn have to be really good at 5-6 things. If it is about technologies, then pick one stream. Python is something. If you want to get into web development, then also you need Python. If you want to get into AIML, then also you need Python. So Python, if you want to pick that. If you want to get into web technologies, then also you need Python. But there's another stack called MERN stack, right? Where MERN is what I'm saying. Just Google about it. There you have Node.js. So JavaScript is what they use and that's a very high-paying job, by the way. If you know React.js, React Native, it will fetch you a lot of money in the market, right? As well as Python and Django, that will also fetch you good money if you have good projects. Projects are very important. Remember that if you want to take away one thing from the webinar, build as many projects as you can. Small projects, they do not have to be one school management applications. They don't have to be such huge applications. Don't do that. And that's very common also. Don't do such kind of hospital management booking system, right? Build a small game, let's say on an Android app. Build a small application on web, right? Pick up an actual idea, pick up a problem that you have and then create that. And what I'll also do is I'll share the URL of the Amigos app because it's almost 6 o'clock, right? I'll share the link here. You can install it from there. Anyways, is it necessary to learn Java if you are good at C++? No, it's not necessary. Even though a lot of good companies ask whether you know Java, so core Java is something that will be covered in your syllabus itself, engineering syllabus. So that should be good enough. Core Java is something that they look at, but most of the time it's all about OOPS concept. Any Java interview is all about OOPS concept. So try to prepare for that, right? Which resume is better, infographic or simple? See, it all depends on what you are where you are applying for. So startups generally prefer beautiful resumes because they want to see effort from your side and how creative you are. Big companies like TCS, Infosys probably will not even worry about these things. To an extent, Amazon also won't worry about that, but it should be good. I mean, it should look good. And when an HR is reviewing your resume, they generally look at good, neatly built resumes, right? No, isn't necessary to learn Java if you're good in C++. So Minu Singh, yes, it's not necessary to learn Java. Core Java is important, advanced Java is not, right? So should we use templates for building resume? Yes, you can use templates. There's no problem with that also. Which is more preferable, Java or C++? See, C++ is something which you have to use for competitive programming also, right? If you are appearing, preparing for competitive programs, competitive programming, then you have to learn and do it in C++, not Java, because Java comes with a lot of other libraries also, and that is not something that people want. C++ is good enough. You want to go for competitive programming or good companies. Is doing web development also important for interviews? See, everything is important. If you want to get into web development companies, then it's very good, right? Web development is something that almost every computer science engineer or IT engineer should know in their college days. So it's a necessity nowadays. You have to know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. These are very commonly needed skills. Okay. What is the importance of course and Udemy certificates? Yes, very good question, Saurabh. So Udemy certificates and all these things, it's not about the certificates. These certificates do not matter at all, right, in your resume. What we will do is, let's say that you send me a resume which has 5 or 6 certificates from these online courses. I'll basically see how consistent are these certificates, which means that if you are learning AIML, it should be 3-4 courses only on that, 5 or 6 courses only on one skill, right? That is where we see that, okay, this person has knows a lot of stuff, knows something in depth. If you have 10 certificates for 10 different technologies, then probably I won't be able to decide what you are good at. Then I'll start asking questions from all of these, and that will we'll have to see how good you are, right? So in which particular subject you are good at. So don't do a lot many certificates from different subjects, and try to learn from these courses. It's not about getting calls or importance in the resume, but it's all about how much you learn from that. Sir, comparative, it's not competitive by the way, प्रोग्रामिंग के लिए कौन से लैंग्वेज सही है? C++. Durgesh, C++, right? There's a book also which I'll try to share someday through my YouTube channel probably. There's a book, a PDF that I have, which tells you how to prepare for competitive programming. So do that. There's a noise from somebody. D. Who's that? Okay. So being a core EC student, how can one start and proceed uh, to hands-on coding part? See, it doesn't matter which engineering branch you are from. If you look at IITs, people who have been building good projects are not from computer science backgrounds. Housing.com was not created by people from computer science backgrounds, right? So people, it won't really matter. It's all about how there are a lot of good videos on YouTube. Start from that, learn C initially, then C++, then instead of Java, go for Python, right? Python, and then on Python find out small projects that you can create and online, and then start building on that. Then probably so you have to spend a month on C, then a month on C++, then a month on Python. The moment you are done with these three subjects, learn data structures, if which is very important, which will take you 2 months of time, and then move to projects, right? So any person, doesn't matter which college you are from, you can change your life in just 6 months, right? I'm telling you this very frankly, because I have done that. When I was stuck at McAfee at TCS, I prepared for about 3 months, right? From March, and by May I was selected at McAfee, and it was only because I was working at TCS and I was going home and studying again data structures, OS, DMS, all those subjects, right? That's the only way that you can crack good companies, right? Even if you get interviews, if you are not good, they will not, even spend 15-20 minutes on you, right? They will straight away send you back after the first round. So hands-on coding part is something. Probably follow me on YouTube. I'll be handling some of these things there, or just log into Amigos, and feel free to connect with me on Amigos, and I'll try to reply you there. Is companies support startup ideas during placement? No, 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 no. If you are going for placements, and if you say that you have a startup idea, they will love you. They will say that it's very good, but then they will not select you. So Amigos YouTube channel link, I think this is what we have. Yes. Check whether this is the channel or not. Yes. This is the channel. Feel free to look at that. Yeah. So startup ideas, don't mention that in your interview, because they want employees, not people who are going to start their own company and leave within 5 or 6 months or a year. Don't mention that.
That was so informative, sir. I have a question from my side. Uh, Everyone suggests to do competitive programming. So how does this impact when we are once placed in a company? How much is it used, or how indirectly or directly it is used?
See, it's all about your intelligence. By competitive programming, they are not testing you only on those subjects. They are testing you how you are able to solve complex problems, right? The competitive programming is all about framing questions in a very real world example way, right? Real world way, and then asking you to solve that. And this is what comes very handy in product based companies, because that is exactly what they are looking. These are the skills that you're looking at, right? You want people who are smart. And competitive programming, if you're good in that, it shows that you're smart. It's nothing more than that. Just the way people in good maths, people who are good in maths are generally good programmers, right? It's not because maths is going to help you. It's because you get to, while you are solving maths, you get to learn about some formulas. You apply those formulas, and become good at that. So, so it's not just about that. And yes, though it is very important. I'll tell you, when I was at McAfee, I was working on a lot of good projects that I initiated there. Some of my products, applications are still being used, and I get called from my friends also, saying that they saw my name on one of the products. So in product-based companies, you have to mention your name also there. So the live quiz is going to start in a minute, right? So let's see. Let me just check that.
I will request everyone to stay updated with the live quiz. It's going to start in a minute or so. We have one question from Rohan Kurana.
Yes.
What are the procedures?
Yeah, question. Yeah. What are the procedures followed by product-based companies? Take the quiz in the meantime. I'll just look at that and start, right? See, there's nothing new which is going to happen now. It's only that the process will change. It will be online. Most of the interviews will be online. Nothing more than that will change. Don't worry about that. And within the next 6 months, nobody, not it's not about nobody, but yes, but a lot of people will come back to meeting you in person at the end at least. So going forward, also most of the interviews will be online. That's the only difference. Shared screen programs. Should we go for projects involving different tech stack or proceed go deep? Sanchita, focus on only one technology and learn that properly. Don't deviate. Don't try to learn a lot more technologies. If you are focusing on Python, because see, people who are good at one thing generally get paid, right? People who know a lot of things and they are not good at one thing, they're not appreciated and they won't get a lot of work. I have personally worked with a lot of people who who knew a lot of things and were not good at only one, right? Anyone. So those are not the people that you select. I'll just pause for some time for you to complete the live quiz. Feel free to drop me questions here in the chat box. So I'll just write a few things in the chat box for everybody. So one is Python, then Django. For backend development, I have mentioned some of the things. Either Python, Django, Django REST framework, or use Node.js. For frontend, I'll mention React.js or AngularJS. For app development, I'll only mention one, which is Flutter. Don't worry about native app development now. Right? If you really want to do that, then native will work. Kotlin is important, and then you have for Android Kotlin, and for Swift for iOS it is Swift. But generally, Flutter is something that I'll recommend for all the people who are in their last year. Right? If you are good at Flutter, you will get a lot of good jobs in the future. Yeah, and HTML CSS is for everybody. So okay. Those who are live here can actually ask me questions.
I guess everyone is busy solving the quiz.
Great. Yeah, that's good. So Durgesh, just wait for 2 minutes and then I'll answer your question. Yes, I think people would have taken the quiz, right?
Yes.
Yes. So Durgesh has asked, Coursera के सर्टिफिकेट्स की कितनी वैल्यू है प्लेसमेंट में? यार सर्टिफिकेट की वैल्यू नहीं है बहुत ज्यादा. It is good to have, but do not do those courses only because you want certificates. Don't pay for these certificates. It's not very important as such. If you have done those courses, you can always mention that you have completed such courses and mention that you know about these things, right? It's more about knowledge. It's not about showing people that you have certificates, because most of the times these certificates will they may get you rejected, because they will go deep in. If you say that you have done a course on AI/ML and they start asking you 5 or 10 good questions, right? I mean, if you are not able to answer that, then there's no value of those certificates. That's the reason that you got disqualified. So people generally look at your resume, and if you have mentioned something, you have to know about those things. If you do not know about those things, there's no point just having certificates. Just nowadays, it is about this. In 2008, 10, 12, it used to be OCGP certifications, Java certifications used to do, and people who had Java certifications were very easily rejected, just because most of the people would have cheated in these certification exams and got marks. And it clearly showed to people, the interviewers, that and most of them did not have good knowledge, and it becomes very easy for the interviewer to reject you after they see a certification and they don't see knowledge. So yeah, don't go for certificates only. Other questions? So if you are done, then we can end this webinar, and if you others have any questions, feel free to ask me.
It was a great session, sir. We got to learn a lot, and I hope everyone has enjoyed this amazing session.
Thanks, Naman.
Once again, thanks a lot for giving your valuable time to us, and it was a total pleasure to have you today with us.
Same here, same here. Thank you, everybody. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll try to help you that there. If you have solid questions, feel free to ask me there. On Amigos, you can just sign up, and in the Q&A session, or in a personal message, I'll reply. You can message me there. I'll definitely reply on Amigos, right? And for other things, probably YouTube channel is good enough. So just look at that. And for internship, go check out Amigos, right?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but as people are leaving, so there is a procedure that we follow.
Sure.
At the end of the sessions, we ask everyone to turn on their cameras and have a screenshot of it to take it as a memory. So I would like to ask everyone to please turn on their cameras if possible. Thank you, sir. That was
Aman.
awesome.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Aman. Thanks for having me here. I hope that you'd have learned something. Just focus on skills. Try to learn as much as you can. Right, your knowledge will not leave you. Today or tomorrow, you'll get a good job. Don't worry about that. Don't run behind jobs. Okay. Thanks a lot. I'm just
Thank
closing.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks, everyone.